everyone, and welcome back to Art a la Carte. And in this episode of Watercolor Wednesdays, or Watercolor 101, whatever we're calling them, I don't know, I'm going to be showing you how I painted this picture of this clockwork owl. Actually, I'm only going to be showing you kind of a portion of this because this piece actually took me over 3 hours to paint, and I actually used up all of my memory on my camera filming this first part, and I couldn't stop to wait to download the photo or film and get my camera going again, because when you're in the middle of watercolor painting, you just really can't stop. So it's actually just the first half. I didn't get to record the second half, but I thought it's actually kind of important to see how a painting kind of gets its start. And so I'll take you through the process. So first thing I did is I came up with an initial sketch that I wanted to do. I had already done one similar to this of a clockwork owl, and I thought it was so much fun I wanted to do another one and kind of do a whole series of them. So I sketched out and got a design that I liked, and then sketched onto my watercolor paper, which I have taped to my watercolor board so that it won't warp. And I'm trying to push really lightly on my pencil so that it won't be hard to erase. But I'm going to get all my kind of details in there, and then in a minute I will show you how I kind of I really quickly erase everything, and then I don't film this part, but I ink it in. I'm using kind of a sepia colored ink marker. And it kind of gives it more of an antique look. Instead of just using that really black marker, I kind of used a brown one. So that was fun. Trying a different method is fun with art. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll come right back. Okay, so I have it all inked in and cleaned up and ready for painting. So now I'm going to go ahead and begin putting in my first washes of color. The thing that you want to do it when you're planning on a really nice painting like this is plan out your kind of palette, your color scheme, because you want your colors to kind of work together. There's colors that match, and then there's colors that are complementary to each other, that aren't similar to each other, but they complement each other, like yellow and purple complement each other. And so I wanted to make sure that I had a good color scheme, so I kind of planned this out. So for the kind of clockwork part of the owl, I really want it to be kind of this antique gold, kind of bronzy-ish looking, so I kept my tones really, really cool. For the more organic parts of the owl, I decided that I would change it up and use tones in kind of a grayish brown, a grayish blue, and a grayish green. And it would give it more of a little bit of a fantasy, almost patchwork kind of look to it as well, but not, totally in-your-face patchwork, just kind of a subtle look to that. So after planning out my colors, I went ahead and put in my first glazing first. And a glazing or a wash is your lightest shades. You're just going to wash over top of that. Once that dries, then you can start going back in and adding in your shadows and your values. And again, your values is where you push in your nice dark, so you have your lights and you have your nice mediums. A lot of times when artists are painting, they get really nervous at this part. They don't really want to push too hard, adding in too dark of darks or leaving too much white, because I think it will ruin their picture. And granted, I have ruined many pictures by adding too much darkness and totally absorbing all my light out of my picture. But you find this balance. You find a nice balance where you have your darks and you have your lights and you have your nice mediums, and they work together and they flow. But it's just going to come from taking those chances and pushing yourself to really put in some nice time to get that dark color in there. And it might ruin a few pictures before you kind of get the hang of it, and that's okay. If you watch my videos long enough, you know that one thing I always encourage you guys to do is don't get frustrated when a picture or painting doesn't turn out the way you want it to be, because it's not a failure if you can learn something from it. And you might not necessarily even know what you've learned from it right away. It may be, months down the road, and you're like, oh, I was going to make that same mistake, but I remember that didn't work out in that one painting, and so you actually learned something from it. Every time you draw or paint, you are learning, whether it's a successful painting or a flop. It's a learning process, so take that time. So you can see here in these feathers, I'm really pushing in some nice darks, but I'm really still also leaving those nice highlights in there, because I want the light to kind of flow through there and catch, but to make the light shine brighter, you have to have some darkness in there. So I'm getting in my background, and I want it to fade into the moon. I don't want it to be a sharp edge. So what I did is I wetted the paper down first, And then I'm really controlling my water and my paint, and I'm allowing the paint to bleed up towards the moon. But if it gets too close, then I'll take kind of a less wet brush, kind of a damp brush, and I'll swipe it around there and pull some of that color out of there. And that really just helps to keep that moon really, really bright white, but also not allow for the paint to kind of run in there. So pretty much this is about all I've got recorded about this point. I've been working on this for about 2 hours, and my little recorder went, yep, we're done. And so I had to stop. But I want to go ahead and show you the finished piece so you can kind of see what it looks like. And really see, it took a lot of time. As you can see, the chain there that went into the painting, that was a lot of time. And if you want to have some really good details like this in your paintings, it's just that's one of the key elements is time. Being able to put 2 or 3 hours into shading a chain, if you want it to look good, it's going to take 2 or 3 hours. So yeah. But at the end, I think it turned out really, really nice, and I really, really had fun with this, and I plan to do a few more. So, yeah, hopefully this kind of helped you, encouraged you to really push yourself into getting some nice, good values into your paintings. And I always love seeing the paintings that you do. I've gotten a lot of people who posted their paintings on Facebook and Instagram, and some who have even mailed them to me. Oh, I'm so excited. So thank you guys for sharing your artwork with me. If you like my artwork, specifically this piece, you can head over to my Etsy shop, and I have this piece along with many, many others up for sale, and you can get an original art a la carte, also known as Valerie Flynn artwork. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and until next time, God bless you guys, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.